Alrighty then. Let's go find the stream. Hopefully it isn't too far away. Found the channel. There's the stream there. So stream's up, chat's up. Audio is working as it should. Stream's up, chat's up. We're all good to go. Fantastic. Well, hello everyone and welcome to round 13 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix. This 2.67 mile, 17-turn circuit was constructed in 1959 and is located in the southeastern part of the nation's capital, Mexico City. It's an interesting circuit as it features a plethora of varying characteristics that will test a car's setup and the driver's skill. In the opening sector, there are long straights that feature DRS zones that lead into turns 1 and 4. Not that they'll be using DRS during qualifying and in the race, more on that later. But these areas provide the best overtaking opportunities around the racetrack. In the middle sector, the circuit features what can be argued as the most demanding S section on the calendar. The section is formed by turns 7 through 11, and each turn is a fast, edge-of-grip style sweeper. To top it off, there are auto-spin curbs dotted throughout, and if a driver makes a mistake on one of those, they'll more than likely end up in the barrier. Finally, there's the arena section. It's tight, twisty, and doesn't create too much racing, but it can create a fair bit of drama, especially on safety car restarts. As you can see, we have light rain conditions for qualifying and we'll have it for the race as well. So expect to see more drama as the difficulty level has been dialed up a few notches. But before we fully focus on this qualifying session, there is a little bit of news to go through first from the previous round in Brazil. I'm happy to report once again that there wasn't a single incident report from last week, which is really, really good to see, so the results stand from last week. In the Drivers' Championship, Barmer 22 is leading on 183 points, followed by Dalton on 149. 34 points separate the top two in the championship, and with only 2 rounds remaining, if Dalton doesn't outscore Barmer by 8 points or more, Barmer will become back-to-back AM1 Drivers' Champion. Third in the championship is Andy Wu on 102, followed by Nicholas Latifi on 76. 1 point behind him, it's Mitch Burns on 75 points. Next is Cameron on 69, then Berzy on 49. Elliott and Nocap are tied for 9th place on 40 points each, as Troye has retired. It's either Troye or Troye. I've been trying to decide which pronunciation that is. I'm going to stick with Troye, but I could be wrong, and I do apologise if I am. 10th in the championship, in the Drivers' Championship that is Kitten Petter in the Ferrari on 39 points. In the Constructors, McLaren are leading on 231, followed by Williams on 198. As a result, if McLaren outscores Williams by 11 points or more here in Mexico, McLaren will become AM1 Constructors Champions for Season 9. Third and fourth in the Constructors' Championship are being occupied by Ferrari and Red Bull, both on 145 points, followed by Mercedes on 115. Alfa Romeo are next on 94 points, followed by Haas on 79. Aston Martin on 77, just 2 points behind, then Alpine on 71. At the bottom of the table, we have AlphaTauri on 20 points. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. We can now focus on this qualifying session. I might keep the tyre detail off for this session because it appears it's going to be intermediates all the way through. No one's set a lap time quite just yet. Do have quite a few cars on track right now. I believe JD is going to be the first driver to set a lap time. He crosses the line now to set the benchmark. 1 minute 27.702. See how everyone else fares in response. Ferrari's coming up to the line. That's Kitten Petter starting a lap. Mitch Burns is about to complete a flying lap here. He crosses the line to set a 1 minute 25.856. He beats JD by almost 2 seconds. Yeah, Kitten Petter, a few people are a bit afraid of the rain. I checked attendance for this race, and there were 10 crosses, 10 declines for participating in this race, which was quite extraordinary. Just to see a mountain's worth of people not willing to race. And again, I do get it. It isn't a particularly fun track, Mexico. I'm not a fan of this place. I'm really not a fan of this place. Really tough racetrack, really easy to get warnings around here, really easy to put it into the barrier, especially the S section. And I think that's also because I'm a pad user, so that S section is like my kryptonite. I just can't do it, period. Bursey sets off on the flying lap. Tell you what, we'll take advantage of this. We'll ride on board with Bursey and give you a proper tour of this racetrack. Heading into turn 1 at 190 miles an hour, brings it down to third gear, hits the apex at about 65 miles an hour. Around turn 2, then turn 3. It's important that you get a nice exit here so you can maximise the straight line speed heading towards turn 4. Speaking of which, we're entering it now, bringing it down from 8th gear down to 3rd, down to 2nd maybe? No, keeps it in 3rd for turn 4. Keeps it in 3rd for turn 5 as well. In the dry, I think we would see drivers more inclined to use 2nd gear, just like that here at turn 6. Short shifting to 3rd there, trying to find traction on corner exit as Barmer improves again to a 24.4. Into turn 7, 8. Then the left-hander at turn 9, and the fast right-left of 11 and 12. Cutting too much and invalidating the lap. Really easy to do here in Mexico. We're going to see that quite a lot. As we've got an AlphaTauri just in front of that Lopez. And he'll get out of the way. Let Bursey through. He's making his way around turn 13, this tight hairpin. Then through 14 and 15. You really can't do much through that section in terms of racing. It's basically just follow the leader through there. But on safety car restarts, that place can turn into a complete nightmare. And Bursey would have set a 26.3. That would have put him P5 out of the time set. Kettenpetter invalidates, I think just then, actually, at turn 11. So this lap is no longer valid. Rick Dalton, the man second in the championship, is making his way around the second last corner. Turn 16. Around turn 17, up towards the line, so 1 minute 24.746. He is currently about 2.5 tenths off Barmer 22's current pole time. Oh, and that's a Haas around. Who's that? That must be Fistbuster. He's currently third. And he's just been disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location. Ouch. Barmer improves to 24.1. There goes Fistbuster's AI parking up near the marshal's post. So Fistbuster will be starting from the back. Best of luck, buddy. It's not going to be fun at the back. Not in these conditions, anyway. It'll be light rain in both qualifying and the race. So this could be a pretty long race. We might see a few casualties as well, just because of the demanding nature of the racetrack. There's an Aston Martin getting out of the way. Petter, this lap's invalidated. Bursey crosses the line to set a 26.7. 6th quickest behind his teammate JD. Still only 7 times on the board. Motown, slowest out of the time set. 1 minute 29.4, but he is 7th. He definitely won't be starting last. Fistbuster will 100% be starting last, thanks to that disqualification. Lopez making his way up to turn 1, 190 miles an hour, exact same speed as Bursey as he approached turn 1. Through turn 2, then turn 3 in third gear, short shifting to 4th, trying to find traction, doesn't find traction, but he manages to not put the car into the barrier. That's the really important thing. Petter having another go here on another flying lap. Cornish Mantis here, new driver getting out of the way. This is in the S section. You see he's properly off the road, doing a really nice job there, letting Bursey through. He's on another flying lap and he's up by 2 tenths to the first sector. What about to the middle sector? What does the clock say? He's up by 3.5 tenths. He could challenge his teammate here, but he needs to get this final sector pretty spot on. Into the hairpin of turn 13, second gear, short shifting to third, being really gentle on the accelerator. Really easy to lose control of the car, especially in these conditions. Around turn 16, around turn 17, the final corner, crossing the line. It's a 26.1. He does indeed overtake his teammate, jumps up to P5. Beating his teammate by 2 tenths of a second. Andy Wu on the beginning of a flying lap, heading up towards the first sector split. No, he's not on a flying lap. You can tell because he's not using any battery. Dalton here, are you ducking back into the pit lane here, sir? Yes, you are. So his first run on the intermediate tyre is over and he almost hit the back of JD. That was quite tight. Fortunately, nothing bad happened. Cameron making his way around turn 6, heading down towards the beginning of the S section. Turn 7, the left-hander, then turn 8. You can see how much you have to abuse the track limits through here, but you do have to be careful. These curves can turn nasty. Out of the S section, heading up towards the beginning of the arena section. Turn 12, hard on the brakes, third gear. Short shifts to fourth, back end stepping out, but he's under control. Around the hairpin of turn 13, through 14, then 15. See their fourth gear being really gentle on the accelerator. Second gear, short shifting to third. He will complete this flying lap. He'll cross the line to set a 24.3. He beats Rick Dalton, not by much though, by I believe 81 thousandths of a second. So it's pretty tight between P2 and P3 right now. And P1 isn't too far away either. Mantis will cross the line, set an invalidated lap of 28.7. That would have put him 10th in front of Motor City. He is still consuming battery though, so he is having another go. 191 miles an hour, 192. He's a speed demon compared to the likes of Bersey, who only hit 190 miles an hour. Yellow flags are out. That's thanks to Cameron bringing those out. See, they're being very gentle on the accelerator. Doesn't want to lose control of the car. In fact, no, he's backed out of a flying lap. Fair enough. Motor City was up by 4 tenths, but he's invalidated this flying lap. Kitten Petter, believe he just set an invalidated lap. The time that came up was a 1 minute 26, but evidently it hasn't counted. Josh has joined. Okay, so he might have an extra driver on the grid. Nice to see. The more the merrier, as it usually is. Andy Wu up by 3/10 of a second to the middle sector. He's coming up towards the line. He will set a 1 minute 24.883. Still fourth quickest, but he improves by almost 4/10. He is still half a second behind Dalton though. That's a fairly big gap between P4 and P3. But I don't think Andy will be too concerned about that. He'll be probably more concerned about surviving through the race. We're coming towards the business end of qualifying now. The clock is ticking towards 6 minutes remaining as Mitch Burns improves by a 10.5 in the opening sector. Out of turn 5, heading around the hairpin of turn 6, second gear. Use a second on the exit as well. A late short shift, I'd say, into third gear, exiting the turn 6 hairpin. Now through the S's as well, Andy Wu has dropped out of the session. Hopefully he'll rejoin as soon as possible. Out of turn 11 up towards turn 12. The middle sector says for Mitch he's lost time. He's only up by 7/100ths to the middle sector. Can he find any time here in the final sector though? There's yellow flags about a slow McLaren. Not quite sure who that is. It is Motor City. He's getting out of the way. Nicely done. Hopefully Mitch wasn't too distracted by that McLaren. Out of the final corner, crossing the line. He doesn't improve. He actually lost time to in the final sector, so he might have been a little bit distracted, thanks to Motor City's McLaren. Dalton on an out lap. He's getting ready. Barmer on a flying lap. Out of turn 3. Gets a nice run there. Car looking pretty stable. Looks pretty racy as he's heading up towards turn 4. He is down though to the first sector by 85 thousandths of a 85 thousandths of a second. Around the hairpin of turn 6, second gear. Short shifts to third. You can hear the wheel spin as he gets on the throttle. Around turn 7, turn 8, and the left-hander at turn 9. See there, he's modulating the brake and the throttle at the same time. I thought he lost the car there. He invalidates at turn 11, cutting too much, so this lap won't count. But he did find a little bit of time to the middle sector. Rick Dalton making his way out of turn 3. See the car wiggling as he gets on the accelerator. There's an AlphaTauri just behind as well. First sector says for Dalton he's up by 1/10 of a second. In order for him to try and take pole position away from Barmer, He will need to improve by about a tenth and a half. Out of turn 6, heading down towards the S section, the notorious X section on this racetrack. Turn 7, 8, as Andy Wu rejoins the session. Dalton makes his way out to turn 9, into 10, then 11. Doesn't invalidate critically through this middle sector. What does the clock say for the Williams driver? He's still up, but he's lost time to his personal best in the middle sector. He's only up by 34 thousandths. Around turn 13, the tight hairpin. Around turns 14 and 15. Now around the final 2 corners, turn 16, then 17. Short shifting up to 5th gear, the back end stepping out, crosses the line. He does improve, not by much though, by half a tenth to set a 1 minute 24.342, but I'm certain he's going to try and set a couple more flying laps here in this qualifying session. Cameron up by half a tenth to the opening sector. He's making his way through the S's now. Turn 7, sideways. He catches it well, but he probably lost time with that small mistake. And he invalidates at turn 11. See, that's a really difficult thing about S sections. If you get the beginning of it wrong, you're compromised at the end of it, and you're bound to make a mistake. That's exactly what happened to Cameron. He lost the back end at turn 7. He was offline throughout the rest of the S's and eventually invalidated. But you won't be too concerned about that right now. He'll just dial himself back in for another flying lap. Sets off now down the main straightaway. Mitch Burns. I think his qualifying session is done. He's low on fuel, he's low on battery, and there's only a minute and 55 seconds left of qualifying, so I think Mitch, his session is done. Lopez is up by 3 tenths to the middle sector. He too is low on fuel. This will more than likely be his final flying lap, and he can challenge Mitch Burns for P5. He'll cross the line to set a 1 minute 25.145. It's not enough. He lost time in the final sector, so he'll stay P6 for now. Cameron coming around turn 6. Dalton making his way through the opening S section. He's improved to a 1 minute 24.172. He's only 6,000. Oh! Uh-oh. Well, Barmer's just crashed into his teammate, and now we've got 2 McLarens blocking the road at turn 13. Hopefully they despawn as soon as possible. There's a Red Bull coming through. That would be Cameron. Cameron will get around him relatively easily, and he's up by a tenth and a half to the middle sector. Around turn 16 to penultimate turn. Around the final turn, turn 17. Cameron will cross the line to set a 24 flat, and he jumps up to the top. And Dalton, he's down. He's not going to be setting a faster time here unless he's got time left in this session. Can the yellow flag thing disappear, please? I'd like to see how much time left there is in qualifying. He has enough time. There's 28 seconds left, so he has one more opportunity to set a faster lap time. Andy Wu looks like, oh, he's lagging quite a bit. Mitch Burns, he's trying to get out of the way, it seems. Lopez, his session is done. Burzy, his session could be over as well. Yeah, he's out of time, so best he can hope for is P7. JD's making his way through the opening sector, heading up towards the first sector split. Petter, I don't think he'll improve. No, he won't. P9 for him. Elite Game Boy's up, not by much so. Cameron's well down to the first sector. Dalton making his way out to turn 3, a bit sideways there. He's pushing hard. He needs to improve by just under a tenth and a half to jump up to pole position. First sector says he's down, but not by much, by only 7 thousandths of a second. Around turn 5, heading up towards the hairpin of turn 6. This is where he needs to find time through this middle sector. He needs to send it here. Needs to abuse every corner, maximize the whole width of the racetrack. Needs to give it everything. Out to turn 9, through 10, then turn 11. Really nice one. He is pushing very hard, and he's lost time thanks to that little mistake. He's down by a tenth and a half, and I don't think he'll be finding that time back here in the middle sector. It won't stop him trying though. Around turn 13, through 14 and 15. Exiting the arena section now, around turn 16. Does he complete this flying lap? He is going to complete this flying lap. Up towards the line for Dalton. Yeah, 1 minute 24.298. It's not enough. So he'll start P3 in this race. Cameron will start from pole position. 1 minute 24.030. Barmer, our championship leader, will start alongside him on the front row. If there is a snake in your basement, Kit and Petter, leave it alone. That's what I would do. Wouldn't go anywhere near it. And there we are. The end of qualifying. An interesting session at that. Cameron will start from pole position, beating Barmer 22 by just over a tenth. But our championship leader will be starting from the front row. Dalton will start just behind Barmer in third place, followed by Andy Wu, Mitch Burns, Lopez JD, Bursey, then Kit and Petter. Elite Game Boy completes the top 10. Cornish Mantis will start P11, followed by Motor City, then Josh in P13, Airborne Tiger, Troye, and Fistbuster, who was disqualified from the session. He'll start from the back in 16th. Yeah, no. I would try and get some sort of wildlife expert, Kit and Petter. Now, considering I am Australian, you know, we live amongst very dangerous creatures, but still, I wouldn't screw around with a snake. I would get someone in who knows what they're doing. Have them fix it. Have them remove the snake. Yeah. I think the most important thing for you is to keep it in the basement and make sure you're well aware that there's a snake in your basement. To everyone who comes in and out of your house. Rightio. Drivers will be, well, they probably won't fine-tune their setups too much. There wouldn't be much to fine-tune. There's very similar conditions between qualifying and the race. I guess the only thing they'll have to decide is how much fuel do they want in their car. That'll be the only major decision to worry about. Rightio, everyone's setting off on their formation lap, and I'm guessing everyone's on the intermediate tyre. Oh, what do you know? Oh, Cameron! Yeah, well, that's one way to warm up your tyres. Gee whiz. That was something. Alright, so we'll get rid of the tyres. We don't need to know who's on what tyre because everyone's on the same tyre. Makes my job a lot easier. Oh dear. We noticed towards the end of qualifying we saw Andy jumping around just a little bit, but hopefully he can get that sorted for the start of the race. Because yeah, now his AI is in control for the rest of this lap and potentially for the start. And I really don't know how to feel about that. There's a predicted pit stop. Okay, it's 2-stop or a 3-stop. I reckon a few drivers would be quite tempted to try and do a no-stop here. If the conditions are going to stay the same all the way through, there's no need to pit. It's just a matter of how long can the intermediates last. That'll be the main question. Can they do 36 laps of racing? If they can, then do a no-stop. Just go all the way through. Bit of drifting there from Barmer. He's entertaining the virtual Mexican fans with his drifting skills. And Andy has rejoined. Okay. Well, this is going to get interesting off the start. We're also going to see one of the best camera angles, I think, in Formula 1 just after the initial start. I'll point it out when it shows it. It's a really, really nice camera angle. Leaders are lined up, ready to race. Cameron from pole position, Barmer alongside. Rick Dalton starts third. Andy Wu, I don't know if that's his AI or if he's behind the wheel now. I'm not sure. But he starts P4. Everyone here will be hoping they make through turn 1 unscathed, but, well, I suppose there's only one way to find out. We have 10 red lights. And we are underway here in Mexico City. You can see Andy's car bobbing about a little bit. It's a nice start from Cameron, though. He's pulling away, and Dalton's overtaken Barmer. He's into P2. And look at the field spread all over the racetrack. Look at them. Look at that camera angle. Fantastic. You can see the entire field all over the racetrack there. Through turn 1 we go. We are 3 wide heading through turn 2. Around turn 3, Lopez and JD. A little bit of contact. Petr dropping down a few places. In the wall is one of the McLarens. It's Motor City. Bursey is collected with him. They have plummeted down to the bottom 2 spots as Dalton takes the lead at turn 4. Cameron drops down to P2. Running wide, though, is Dalton. Cameron goes down the inside at turn 6. Tries to take the lead back. Dalton fighting back, though. He has the inside line for turn 7, but he rather wisely backs out of any sort of overtake. Barmer just behind in P3. Andy Wu, P4. Followed by JD, then Lopez. These two came together at turn 3. Fortunately, nothing too major came from that minor collision. Kitten Petr, P7. Mitch Burns, P8. Josh, 9th. Gameboy, 10th. And Cornish in P11. Motor City and Bursey coming together at turn 3. They're now well at the back. We didn't get a VSC from it either. So they'll have to make a pit stop to get their cars fixed. And then pray for a safety car to come out at some stage to bring them back into the race. It's Cameron who leads, Dalton second, Barmer in third. Gap between the top two, 7/10. The gap between P2 and 3, 6/10. And it's a 2-second gap back to Andy Wu, who has JD right behind. Through turn 2, into turn 3. You can see JD trying to shadow the Ferrari. He slips wide, though, on the outside curb. Troye, Cornish, Mantis battling at turn 3. It seems that the Aston Martin comes out on top in that battle. Fistbuster moves on through as well. Now he's trying to line up and move down the inside of turn 4, but can't quite get it done. Troye gives him room, though, just in case if he did actually go for the move, but he backed out of it. Oh, but the Aston runs wide. Down the inside goes Fistbuster into turn 6. Oh, this looks a bit awkward. Troye, backs out of the battle. Mantis goes through as well into 13th place. I think Troye just backed off the throttle, let both of them through so he can get his car sorted. Running wide like that can give you very, very dirty tyres. You need to be exceptionally careful. Down the inside goes Airborne Tiger on his teammate Elite Gameboy. And he's trying to make a move on Josh as well here at turn 12. And I think he's got it done. He has. He's into P9. So a double overtake at turn 12. Don't see that too often in wet weather conditions. Cameron trying to pull away. The gap is almost 1 second between the top two. From qualifying, you could tell that these three were sort of the class of the field, and they're proving that here in the race as well. Just pulling away by a fair margin from Andy Wu, who is in 4th place. JD at 1.2 seconds behind in 5th. He's currently occupied with Lopez and Kitten Petr following behind. Mitch Burns isn't too far behind either in 8th place. Down towards turn 4. See from the gaps, the drivers are close, but no one's really in a position to attack, except for this here. Troye overtaking Mantis. That was for 13th place. Fistbuster right behind Game Boy. I thought those two almost made contact there at turn 6. Rather turn 5. Coming out of turn 6 now, heading towards turn 7. Through here, you really can't do much as Andy Wu, already a 3-second time penalty. As you can see, Josh has got a big red cross next to his name, so he's not actually driving his car. I've just noticed. Interesting, it's the AI behind the wheel. Game Boy trying to line up. Oh, and the AI almost cuts off Elite Game Boy there. Fistbuster's going to try and take advantage of it. He overtakes the AI of Josh. He's now trying to find a way by Game Boy. Through turn 14, through turn 15, around turn 16. Important that you get a nice run out of here. So you can get... Oh, dearie me. So you can't... So you don't do that. I was going to say so he can get on the back of a Game Boy's car. He's a bit too skatey on the throttle. As a result, he lost time. He's got some decent straight line speed in the Haas. He closes in by quite a bit. Not enough, though, to make a move here at turns 1, 2, or 3. But he could line up a move at turn 4. Got a pretty nice run there, and he's using battery this time around. He moves to the inside. Game Boy doesn't put up too much of a fight, lets the battle happen, and Fistbuster moves into 10th place. Still got this 4-car train here of JD, Lopez, Kittenpetter, and Mitch Burns. Lopez trying to close in on JD, trying to apply pressure. Only half a second back as Airborne Tiger gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We're only 4 laps in. Already 2 drivers have got penalties thanks to warnings. Welcome to Mexico City. Make that 3 drivers. Troye overtakes the AI of Josh. That was for P12. Now Lopez gets a nice exit here. Yeah, not quite. I think JD got a better exit out of the final corner. He did use a little bit of battery to compensate Lopez. Just sitting in the slipstream, waiting for his moment to strike. You sort of have to be patient in these sort of conditions. You can't race too aggressively, otherwise you can find yourself in the barrier. Coming out to turn 3. Lopez got a better run there. Slots into the slipstream. Won't be close enough to attack. He is close enough to apply pressure to JD. Try and make him create a mistake. Up towards turn 6 to hairpin. Closes in on the brakes. Loses a little bit of time on the exit. You can hear the wheel spin as the drivers desperately try and find any sort of traction out there. Around turn 8. Around turn 9. Up towards turns 10 and 11. Lopez will lose time through here naturally, though the interval says otherwise. You would naturally lose time because you have to cope with all the dirty air coming off the car in front. But Lopez actually closed in on JD. Around the hairpin of turn 13, he is right on the back of the Alfa Romeo. Kittenpetter, Mitch Burns watching along. In fact, looking at the intervals, Petter's lost time. Oh! Lopez has half a moment there at the exit of the final corner. And thanks to that little mistake, Petter closes back to within a second of the AlphaTauri driver. Mitch Burns just behind, and Airborne Tiger closing in too, only 1.2 seconds behind Mitch Burns in P9. Now the top 3, they're starting to spread out a little bit. Cameron pulling away. He's got a 1.7 second lead. Dalton's got a 1 second margin to Barmer. Now just a reminder of the championship scenario right now. If Dalton doesn't outscore Barmer by 8 points or more, Barmer will become Season 9 AM1 Drivers Champion. And right now in this position, Dalton will not outscore Barmer by 8 points. So all that Barmer needs to do is follow Rick, basically, throughout the rest of the race. He doesn't need to do anything silly here. Just needs to keep the car within the white lines, and drive a tidy race. And he will wrap up the championship. But I don't think the constructors will be wrapped up today. That will come down to the final round at Circuit of the Americas. JD, Lopez, Kittenpetter, Mitch Burns just behind as well, and Tiger's closing in 9th place. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1. 6.5 tenths separating P5 and 6. Lopez closing in just a little bit down the main straightaway. Perhaps using a little bit of battery. Perhaps his setup is more straight line friendly. But he does close to within half a second of JD. JD, though, is doing a fantastic job managing the pressure from the cars behind. He's kept the car within the white lines. He hasn't got a single penalty. And he hasn't really made any mistakes from what I could tell. He's just kept the car really tidy. right now. Doing a really nice job. Lopez is doing all he can to try and throw off JD, and look how close he gets at the exit of turn 8. He's not close enough to create a move here at turn 7. He's close enough to just keep the pressure on him. See the sparks flying there at turn 9 through 10, then 11. Now, it's a similar story with Kittenpetter and Mitch Burns. Mitch closing in, applying pressure on the Ferrari driver, who runs wide at turn 12. And Petter, he'll have more to deal with, because that Alpine of Tiger has closed in JD and Lopez. I was very close at turn 16. I saw that at the bottom of the screen. Lead Game Boy, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Now Lopez slots back into the slipstream, just trying to close in on JD, work away at the gap. Not by enough, though, to attack into turn 1. He has to stay behind. See there, slight move out of the slipstream. Trying to unphase JD. Barmer right behind Dalton. Half a second separating these two. Plenty of wheel spin there at turn 6. Through turn 8, then 9. Through turns 10 and 11. Half a second separating these two. Again, Barmer doesn't need to do anything too silly here. He can play a smarter game. Cameron is pulling away. He's got 2.2 seconds now in hand. There he is there. There's Dalton and Barmer. Petter, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. That's his first for the race as Motor City retires in the pit lane. So he's had enough. As, Mantis has crashed out. That is at the exit of turn 6, and we have a safety car. Well, I guess Motor City's probably regretting that he retired in the pit lane, because immediately after he retired, safety car has been deployed. Ouch. Into the pits comes a few drivers. They'll be putting on fresh intermediates. Maybe a few of them might make... Oh, dear. Severe collision between Mitch Burns and Airborne Tiger. That was in the middle of the pit lane. Unless that was right at pit lane entry. That penalty came up while they were in pit lane. That was strange. As Andy has left the session again. Hopefully he'll rejoin as soon as possible. Not a bad time to disconnect when the safety cars come out. Oh, Andy has... Oh. The AI has stopped. The AI has stopped. Kittenpetter drive-through penalty. Mitch Burns drive-through penalty. Andy Wu's been disqualified. What the... What's going on? Well, never mind. Andy coming back. Sorry, Andy. You've been disqualified because your AI just refused to move. And two drivers have got drive-throughs. What's the go? Yeah, look. Kittenpetter and Mitch Burns have drive-through penalties. The pair of them. I guess they weren't paying attention to the delta. It could have dropped on them very significantly. That does happen from time to time. A few drivers in the pit lane. The leaders, in fact, in the pit lane. Taking advantage of this safety car period. Putting on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. And here comes Lopez to take the race lead. I believe he is the only driver not to have stopped. He is. So he's going to go for it. I reckon he's going to try and do the entire race on that set of intermediate tyres. There we are. Ah, hello, Blade. Yeah, I can relate. When you're working with quite a few leagues, it is tough to sort out a timetable. So, yeah. Okay, I'll give Lopez credit. Why not? You know, it gives him the ultimate track position. He's at the front of the field. But he's now on not fresh tyres compared to, well, everyone else. And this helps Burzy out quite a bit, as Andy Wu has rejoined, and he's going to have the rude awakening of his car not being on track, being disqualified out of the race. Do I need to say hello to you, KD? Oh, very well. Hello, KD. I don't often glance down at chat. I'm too busy being fixated on the race. With this safety car period, it gives me the opportunity to talk to chat. How many more laps will we be doing? Probably one more behind the safety car, and then we can move on back to green flag running. So we'll run through the penalties just quickly. Petter and Burns have got drive-throughs they have to serve. Airborne Tiger got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision. What is Cameron doing? He's 4 seconds back from Lopez. What's the go? Righto. But yeah, Airborne Tiger got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with this man, Mitch Burns. And that happened... Well, the penalty came up while they were in the middle of the pit lane. I can only assume that the two came together at pit entry, because I don't think you can get 5-second penalties for a collision while you're in the pit lane. Elite Game Boy here has 6 seconds as well, and I'm pretty certain that Petter and Burns have 3 seconds each. Oh, I might as well check race director. We'll have a look. So Andy Wu, 3 seconds. Actually, this might be easier. Kitten Petter, he's got a penalty and a warning. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that was 3 seconds. Mitch Burns, no, he only has a drive-through. Quickly find Petter's penalty as well. Yeah, a few 3-second penalties being dished out, and they won't be the last we'll see either. We're going to see quite a few of those, unfortunately. But it's Mexico, what do you expect? Yeah, here we go. So, Airborne Tiger, 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Mitch Burns. Speeding under safety car, so a drive-through for Petter and Mitch. And Andy Wu's AI just parked itself on the racetrack. It just stopped. So... this game, even after a whole year of updates, it still amazes me, so... Alright, just be waiting on Burzy to catch up to the tail of the train, and we'll get back on the green flag running. And at this point, we've officially hit the 1/3 mark. Oh, this race is going to be long. Yeah, not the biggest fan of full wet race. As I really shouldn't say full wet. I should say I'm not a fan of races that it's wet all the way through, because they're really, really long. Mixed condition races can be really fun when you go from wet to dry or dry to wet, or you have just a wet period in the middle of 2 dry periods. That's often quite fun to watch. And that is Airborne Tiger spinning out, doing a bit of lawn mowing on the inside of turn 5, and he now drops to the back. Oh dear. Really? A safety car came out during qualifying? I haven't seen that, KD. But to be honest, that wouldn't surprise me. Something like that could happen. It is rather astonishing that after a year we, Oh, what? Oh my goodness! So, Troye has spun. Burzy, I think, has got complete wing damage. He does. So something has happened here at the tail of the field. I haven't spotted. Oh dear. Drama. Drama. So Lopez will control the field. The back of the field has got some sorting out to do. Burzy has to pit for a new front wing. Cameron is sliding about, losing time. And Lopez drives away. Oh, but Lopez didn't get a great run out of the final corner. And now Cameron is right on the back of him. Actually takes the lead back at the beginning of lap 13. Will Dalton try and find a way through? He's looking to the inside here at turn 1. He'll have the outside line for turn 2. And as a result, he can't keep fighting for P2. He has to keep P3. Gets a nice run out of turn 3 though. He tries to draw alongside Lopez here. Heading towards turn 4. Looking around the outside. This will give him the inside line at turn 5. As a result, he gets P2. Barmer moves through as well. He's into third. So although Lopez got track position thanks to him staying out, in the matter of 1 and a bit sectors, he's now back down to 4th. Oh dear. But all is not lost. These three have been exceptionally quick throughout this racing session. So it was to be expected that Lopez would get eaten up by these three. It's a matter of, will he get eaten up by those behind? Well, he definitely won't be eaten up by Kitten Petter and Mitch Burns. They've got drive-thrus to serve in P6 and P7. And now Bursey's got all the work to do again to get back towards this leading group. And Airborne Tiger had to pit as well. So they're now both a long, long way back. Into the pits comes Kitten Petter and Mitch Burns to serve their drive-through penalties. Ouch. Just still an AI? Yep, he most certainly is. So the Mercedes just wandering around the racetrack in 8th place. AI's in the top 10. Credit to the AI. Yellow flag's about. Kitten Petter well off... well away from where he should be. He was way off to the left-hand side of the racetrack. And I don't think he made it past the white line yet. That signifies the pit exit. So these two will be battling for the final point scoring spot in P10. Lopez gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Cameron trying to pull away from Dalton and Barmer. Once again, he's got a 1-second margin to Dalton right now. Dalton... he needs to catch up to Cameron and battle him for the lead for the sake of the championship. But it won't be easy to do. Cameron showed a lot of pace during qualifying and during the beginning phase of the race. Dalton's responding though. He's just set the fastest lap. 25.5. Lopez goes into pit lane. Damage? No, he's just moving on to a new set of intermediate tyres. You can see how worn out those old inters are. There's barely any tread on them. So those tyres get properly shredded. Down the inside goes Troyer for P7, though the AI puts up a fight. The Aston Martin gets through into 7th position. Around turn 6, heading towards the S section now. The gap is 0.8 of a second, make that 0.9 between the top two. Through turn 7, through turn 8, turn 9, heading towards 10 and 11. The gap is just over a second now as Cameron pulls away through the demanding S section. Demonstrating that Cameron's got a pretty solid car through that particular part of the circuit. Maybe Dalton has got slightly better straight line speed compared to Cameron, but Cameron's very quick through that middle sector. There's Barmer just shadowing Rick Dalton right now, just following the Williams as best he can. JD, 3-second time penalty. Kitten Petter, another 3-second time penalty. He now has 6 seconds next to his name. Oh, they seem pretty even on the straights, Cameron and Dalton. So maybe just Cameron got a better run through the S section. Oh, he's run awfully wide there at turn 3. He's actually gained a little bit of time from it as a result. Around turn 4, heading towards turn 5, the gap's increased to 1.2 seconds. Now around the hairpin of turn 6. Heading down towards the S section now. So the gap 1 second as they enter the S section. What will it be at the end of it? Through turn 7, through turn 8, through turn 9. The gap increases a little bit. Through turn 10, then 11. Gap didn't increase by much, so they're just genuinely very even right now. The top two. Same with Barmer. He hasn't lost any time to the top two. He hasn't really closed in either. So the top three very evenly matched. JD, he's got a bit of pressure from the car behind, that being Fistbuster in the Haas. He had to start from last place. Fistbuster, after getting disqualified for being, quote, parked in a dangerous location. He's made his way up into the top 5. He's performed extraordinarily well. And if he finishes this race up in the top 5, he will 100% get driver of the day. But JD will have plenty of experience having a car right behind him in these conditions on this racetrack. Just needs to keep doing what he has been doing. Just be nice and tidy. A little bit wide there at turn 3. But not too much though. Gap is 3 tenths. 2.5 tenths, 2 tenths. Fistbuster looking, but can't really commit to a move. He just doesn't have quite enough momentum to send it down the inside and make the move stick. You have to be right up behind someone in order to try and make some sort of move. Not the best of exits there for Fistbuster at turn 6. Through the S section now. Fistbuster following the Alfa Romeo in front. Got a really nice run there through 10 and 11. He now draws alongside the Alfa Romeo, but he's on the outside. It'll be tough to stay there, but he does. He swoops around the outside and now has the inside line into the hairpin. JD fights back though at turn 14 and 15. Really nice driving. A little bit of contact there. I don't think that was intentional. Just a little bit of contact. Around turn 17, the final corner, and JD hangs on. It's now a drag race down to turn 1. Who's got the longer legs? Who's got the faster car? It's very even between JD and Fistbuster. JD has the inside line. He needs to brake deeper. Oh, they're side by side, and Fistbuster has the inside line for turn 2, but JD has the inside line for turn 3. Lovely battle between these two. Buster's now in front. JD slots into the slipstream. Pulls out of it, looking to the outside. If he can stay there, he'll have the inside line for turn 5. He can't stay there. Fistbuster moves into 4th place. A brilliant scrap between these two. And it was created here in the S section. He got a superb run through turns 10 and 11. He was able to draw alongside JD, and it was really respectful driving between those two. From the end of the S section all the way up to turn 4. It's really, really great stuff. Now Fistbuster has got a whole heap of clear air in front of him. Gap is 14.1 seconds to P3, so he doesn't have to worry about the cars in front. He just needs to get his head down and try and pull away. JD, if he can, needs to try and keep up with Fistbuster. Won't be easy. We've seen how quick Buster has been in the past few races, and he's made his way up from 16th to 4th, so he's been quick. So he won't be an easy customer to keep up with. But JD, he's still within a second of P4, and Game Boy's closing in. Troye in P7 isn't too far behind this either. We've got the AO of Josh sporting just a balaclava in his car. Kit and Petr right behind. There's Mitch Burns and Lopez in P11. So we've got a 4-car train battling for P8, and at the front of it is an AI. Petr closing in on said AI. Down the straightaway towards turn 4. Oh yeah, breaks the AI. Trying to find a way by. Can't quite get it done. Mitch Burns. Lopez down the inside there. At turn 5. Petr spins out. Oh no. Bonotto came over the radio. He yelled Spinala, and Petr promptly spun out. He's now down to P11. He falls within the clutches of Burzy and the Alfa Romeo. He's going to be losing a bit more time thanks to those tyres being out of whack after touring on the grass, as Burzy gets a 3-second time penalty. Burns trying to find a way back by Lopez, who made one hell of a move at turn 5, really centred down the inside. Josh being the cork in the bottle, really. Down the inside goes Lopez on the AI. They make contact. Burns can take advantage of this. He is going to try and take advantage of it. He draws alongside. See there, Lopez with slightly better straight line speed, but here comes the Aston Martin of Mitch Burns. He moves back on through, and here comes Josh's AI. Look at that, with no one behind the wheel. Tries to make a move down the inside of turn 1. Lopez trying to find a way around as well. Down the inside here at turn 3, moves the AI out of the way. The AI now moves down to 10th. My goodness, the amount of straight line speed that Mercedes had was ridiculous. JD, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. He now has 6 seconds next to his name. Half a second separating these two. This battle is definitely not over. And we've seen with the moves that Lopez has been making, he's not mucking around. He wants to move forward. Unfortunately, though, if we don't have another safety car, the best that he could hope for is P8. Same with Mitch. They're a long way behind, 16.5 seconds behind the next car, which is Burns' teammate, Troyo. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Cameron's now got almost a 2-second lead to Dalton, so he's steadily extending that gap. Oh, it's just shrunk a little bit as I was saying that. Now it's moved back to 1.9. Barmer still right behind in third place, shadowing the Williams as best he can. In fact, he's closing in. He closed in by a few tenths through that section. So yeah, these three, class of the field at the moment. And they're pretty inseparable right now. Cameron's starting to stretch his legs though. He's built up about half a second through the middle and final sector. Barmer just following behind, waiting patiently. Meanwhile, Game Boy and Troye, another close battle between these two. There's JD just in front. Speaking of close battles, Barmer's now right behind Dalton. Gap is now 3.5 tenths between these two. Airborne Tiger, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. And with Barmer this close now, Dalton can't really focus on Cameron in front. He needs to worry about the car behind that is filling his wing mirrors. Coming out of turn 6, heading down towards the beginning of the S section. The gap between these two is half a second. Fistbuster, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. That's his first penalty for the race. Heading into turn 12. Can't do much here. He's not close enough to make a move, Barmer. Round the hairpin. Turn 13. Through 14 and 15. Barmer just working away at the gap. Trying to put Dalton under pressure. So lap 23 of 36. We've got a fair way to go until we see the checkered flag. Plenty to unfold here in Mexico City. These three starting to close in on one another as Lopez gets a 3-second time penalty. He's lost time to Mitch. He's now 1.7 seconds back and JD's in. Kit and Petter, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. So JD coming in. Is this for damage or is this a proper stop? It looks like it's a proper stop. It is. New set of intermediate tyres have been bolted onto the car, and away he leaves. He'll drop behind Burns and Lopez. He's now down in 9th place. So, evidently JD believes his tyres couldn't make it. So he had to come in and put on a new set of intermediate tyres. He's still in the top 10, so he's still able to score points. He has lost a fair few positions. Be interesting to see what the other drivers do. If tyre wear is that bad on the intermediate tyre, we might see a few more people coming in. And I've noticed as well, the gap has shrunk between the top two to 1.1 seconds as Cameron is sliding out of turn 16. Around turn 17, back onto the main straightaway. It's now lap 24 of 36 here in Mexico. We got 13 laps to go. Down towards turn 1, the gap hovering at 1.2 seconds between the top two. The gap between P2 and 3, half a second. Down the next long straightaway towards turn 4. Barman's not really in a position here to battle. Game Boy is into the pits. So he's putting on another set of intermediate tyres. He feels he can't go to the end on that set. Interesting, I didn't know or didn't realise that the tyre wear would be that bad on the intermediate tyre here in Mexico. Burns now takes P6, Lopez P7. JD moves up to 8th place. Game Boy rejoins down in 9th, a good 5 seconds in front of the next car, which is Kitten Petter. Still got Burzy right behind. Cameron, our race leader, starting to build up that margin again. It's now 1.4 seconds. Around turn 16. Seen a few people pit. Is he pitting in? No. Dalton? No. Barber? No. The race leaders are staying out. Look at Barber. The wheel movement. The sudden changes in engine note. You don't have much traction out here in these conditions. You're tiptoeing your way through every corner exit. You're tiptoeing your way into every braking zone. It's all about finesse and control. And as I was saying, that one part about control is keeping the car within the white lines. Cameron, while he's abused the track limits a bit too much, he's now got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Fairly hefty blow for him. His chances of winning this race have dropped quite significantly as Troyer pits in. He's on the new set of inters, and he'll come out behind Game Boy in 9th place. So JD up to 7th, Game Boy up to 8th, Troyer 9th. Into the arena section. Cameron pulling away. 1.9 seconds is the gap. There's a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. He now has 9 seconds next to his name. Leaders staying out again. So maybe the leaders feel they can get their tyres to the end of the race. Others in the grid, they feel they can't do that. Around the penultimate turn. Does Fistbuster come in for a stop? He does have time in hand. He's got 21.2 seconds to the car behind. He probably could do a pit stop and end up in front as Kitten Petter gets a 3-second time penalty. He now has 12 seconds next to his name. Oh, hello. Well, that certainly doesn't help things. Does a nice burnout on the Pirelli advertising, demonstrating his affection for Pirelli. Does a donut. And Josh is arriving onto the scene. The leaders are coming through as well. He has to... Oh, he has... Oh, dear. No. Whoa, 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 whoa. Jesus. Fortunately, nothing bad happened from that. But I'm guessing Petr will be coming in to get new tyres. Leaders, though, doing no such thing, except for Barmer. He pits. So he's the first of the top 3 to make a stop. Now, what do the top 2 do? Do they stay out? Do they keep going? Or do they put on new tyres like Barmer's doing right here? Kitten Petr as well has retired out of the race. We're now down to technically 11 cars because Airborne Tiger, well, sorry, Josh, I should say, is in AI. Barmer comes out in front of Fistbuster and he's got a whole heap of clear track in front of him. Now, if the top 2 decide to stay out, Barmer has to close in a 21.5 second gap. That's a lot of time to close in with only 10 laps remaining. He needs to close in by 2 seconds a lap. Yellow flags are out. Ah, that's the AI. Coming back out onto the racetrack. There's Kitten Petr's AI. Just being a nuisance. Because the AI just can't despawn in pit lane. Here comes Troye. Oh, he goes into the wall! Oh no, he lost control of the car on corner exit. And he puts his Aston Martin into the wall. Airborne Tiger's coming through. He'll get by. Oh no. Oh, turn off your battery as well. There we go. Ah, dear, oh dear. He has to do an entire lap with a broken front wing. Oh, that sucks. That sucks big time. Cameron running wide again at turn 3. Dalton, 2.5 seconds back. He has a shot of winning this race. He needs to stay within 3 seconds of Cameron, though. And these two need to make an important decision right here, right now. Do they stay out or do they pit in for new tyres? I don't think pace would be the major concern in this. I don't think Barmer will be able to catch up 20 seconds. The main thing will be getting a puncture, I think, at this point. Lopez pits in for a front wing, so he's got damage at some point. He has to get a new front wing. He's on a new set of intermediate tyres. Yeah, I think that will be the thing that draws Barmer back into the race for the win, is if these two get punctures. Into the pits goes Troye. Cameron stays out. Dalton stays out as well. It's now lap 29 of 36. We got 8 laps to go. Barmer now has a 3-second time penalty. See, this is the problem with going with the more aggressive strategy in terms of on-track pace, is that when you're getting very close to the track limits, when you're pushing hard to try and catch up, like he's doing right now, after setting the fastest lap of the race, you get awfully close to the track limits, and if you go over them, you get punished. The game doesn't care. You go over the white lines, you get a warning. It's very simple, unless you trick the game out like Cameron's been doing at turn 3. You stay out a bit wider than what you usually would. Then the game considers it as being a mistake, rather than you abusing track limits. Gap is 2.7 seconds between the top 2. Cameron's still got pace in that car. Still pulling away, incrementally away from Dalton. Through the arena section. Coming out of it. Cameron stays out. Dalton stays out. I think they're going to commit to the tyres they're on. They're going to try and get to the end of the race on these tyres. And they've got to pray to the Codemaster gods that they do not get a puncture. It's hard to tell the tyre wear. Car moving this fast, it's a lot easier to tell when the car is stationary. As Elite Game Boy has left the session, he's in P7 right now. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin as soon as possible. Barmer 19.5 seconds back. Yeah, he's not closing in by enough per lap to try and retake those positions on track. He's hoping that these two get punctures. Quite right, KD. Oh, well, it all depends on Dalton winning this race. If Dalton doesn't win this race, Barmer, I think, will become Drivers' Champion. Because Dalton needs to outscore Barmer by 8 points. By finishing P2, he gets 18. Barmer will get 15 in P3, so that just won't be enough. But if he wins this race, gets to 25 points, Barmer gets 15, then the championship fight will go on into the final round at Circuit of the Americas. As Cameron, well, there we go. He doesn't have to worry about staying within 3 seconds anymore. Cameron has now got 6 seconds next to his name. There we go. So Dalton, he just needs to stay within 6 seconds of the race leader and pray he doesn't get a puncture. But you never know with the game. It goes into RNG mode after you hit about 70%, as Lopez gets a 3-second time penalty. This is going to be a race of penalties, isn't it? So Cameron, if he wants to take the win, he's got to get a move on. And I don't think you really want to get a move on, not on those old tyres. Around the hairpin of turn 13. Round 14 and 15. Hear the wheel spin. You can hear the intermediate tyre struggling to find the grip. We've now got 5 laps to go. Lap 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. That's all we've got left to sort out this race. Dalton's in with a shot to win. It's all down to the gods now, the Codemaster gods. Barmer's making his way past Josh, I believe. Yep. So the AI will get out of the way. Let the McLaren through. He's now got a clear track right in front of him to do what he needs to do. Fistbuster minding his own business in 4th place, as I believe Elite Game Boy has gotten back behind the wheel of his car. Mitch Burns is next in P5. JD's next. There's yellow flags about. Airborne Tiger has spun. This is at turn 12. And he has to be very careful. The leaders are coming through. There's Cameron. Dalton's the next car. And away he goes through. And actually you can see there, with the Alpine moving slowly, how little tread those tyres had. And he's been on them for a while. 17 laps he's been on them. The 2 leaders at the front, they've done 21 laps on their tyres. Oh, you can see Cameron struggling to find grip. Dalton crosses the line. He's now 3.6 seconds behind Cameron. Barmer making his way around turn 16 and 17. There is Airborne Tiger going into the pits. We didn't get a VSC. We didn't get a SC from it. Barmer sets a new fastest lap. 25.0. So with that extra point next to his name, that will shrink the gap between first and third to 9 points instead of 10, and I do believe the championship will still be going on into the next round at Kota, even if it's 9 points. Because with 9 points, the gap shrinks to 25 between the top 2, and you can score a maximum of 26 heading into the next round. Cameron still going. 3.5 seconds is the gap. 3 laps to go. There's not much these guys can do now other than just drive the car, get it to the finish, and hope and pray. That's all they really can do. Farmer with the fastest lap next to his name. That extra point, it is going to help him out. Anyone on fresh tyres? We have Airborne Tiger on fresh tyres. So out of everyone, he has a shot of taking the fastest lap point away from Barmer. We'll have to wait and see, though, if he'll be quick enough to try and challenge him for fastest lap. Down towards the S section. Cameron, another penalty. 9 seconds next to his name now. The penalties are coming in. Running wide there at the exit of turn 11. Desperately trying to find any traction he can. Around the hairpin of turn 13 into turns 14 and 15. Coming around the final 2 corners now. He'll make his way back onto the main straightaway to begin the second last lap. Lap 35 of 36. 2 laps to go. Dalton still running. No punctures. Airborne Tiger, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. He now has 12 seconds next to his name. Coming out of the opening chicane. Car still intact, same with Dalton. Barmer in third. Looking comfortable. Looking very comfortable out there. All he has to do now is get the car to the finish. Fistbuster. Next car. P4. Then it's a 25-second gap back to Mitch Burns in P5. Then JD. Then Elite Game Boy. P7. Bursey in P8. Lopez 9th. Troy 8 rounds out the top 10. Then we have Josh and Airborne Tiger in P12. The gap has shrunk to 2.7 seconds between the top 2. Cameron has lost time through the arena section. Tyres still intact through turn 14, 15, around turn 16. Then the final corner, turn 17. This is it. One more lap. One more tour around this racetrack. That's all they have to do. Just need to keep their cars nice and steady. And hope they get through to the end of the lap. Out of the opening chicane. Cameron gets through unscathed. Bursey gets a 3-second time penalty. Dalton gets through unscathed. Through turn 4. Into turn 5. Yellow flags are about. That's Fistbuster in P4. He's into the wall with a lap to go. He's now got complete front wing damage on that Haas. There goes Airborne Tiger. He'll be moving in front of Fistbuster. He's got to manage a 30-second gap back to Mitch Burns. Cameron out of the S section. Tyres still intact. Same with Dalton. One more section for Cameron to get through. The arena section. Coming around the hairpin of turn 13. The confetti begins to fly as the leaders come out of the arena section for the final time. Cameron keeps his intermediates intact. He'll cross the line in first, but he will not stay there. Rick Dalton will end up winning the Mexican Grand Prix thanks to penalties. Well, I do believe this will keep his championship hopes intact. Just. Barmer will cross the line in P3. With fastest lap, it means Dalton outscores him by 9 points, meaning the gap between the top 2 with 1 round to go is 25 points. The championship is very much in Barmer's favour. Dalton, he would need to score the race victory and fastest lap to take the championship heading into next week. Fistbuster will end up surviving after his shunt a few moments ago. He'll finish P4 and he'll get driver of the day thanks to his performance. Mitch Burns, P5. JD is the next car. He'll finish P6. And into the wall he goes. Lead Game Boy P7. Bursey P8. And he'll get shuffled down to 9 thanks to Lopez. There we are. Fistbuster, no surprise whatsoever, gets driver of the day. And here we have the podium celebrations. Another victory for Dalton in this championship. And he barely keeps his championship hopes alive. Both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships will go down to the final round in America. That's bound to be an interesting race next week. But as of right now, the unofficial results of the Mexican Grand Prix. Rick Dalton takes victory over Cameron, a gap of 6.4 seconds at the end of the race. Barber 22 will end up finishing third with fastest lap after setting 1 minute 25.027. Fistbuster survives his lap 35 shunt to end up finishing in fourth place. He got driver of the day. After starting last, he made up 12 spots to finish fourth, so obviously deserves driver of the day. Mitch Burns, P5, started P5, finished P5. Not a bad effort from him. JD, P6. Game Boy, P7, then Lopez, P8. Bursey in 9th. Troy 8 rounds out the top 10. The AI of Josh ends up finishing P11 in front of Airborne Tiger. And our retirements, Kitten Petter, Andy Wu got disqualified after his AI came to a stop. Cornish Mantis and Motown Motor City, 4 retirements from this race. Started with 16, ended with 12, with one of them being an AI. There we are. An interesting Grand Prix. Definitely had its moments. It was quite a long one as well, thanks to the intermediate conditions. As it typically is with wet weather races, they take a while. But with the results today, it means that the championships will go down to the wire next week. So definitely tune in for that. That's bound to be interesting. Barmer, he's a big favourite to take his second championship in a row, but anything can happen in an online league race. Anything can happen. So definitely tune in for that. But I think with the race finally over, it's time for us to end the stream. Until next time, I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for the final round, round 14 of the AM1 Championship at Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.